So you go to search and you type in.
Well, they start early.
Go right here in this search engine space.
Oh, they're not letting you share.
They're not, I'm not down there in the bottom.
Yeah, that little bitty
It's
window.
open. Well, I can show y'all
Can y'all see
afterwards.
it? Can y'all see it at all? No. Yeah.
It's down there at the bottom.
Yeah.
Out there now.
Yes, don't.
Can folks hear me?
Y'all hear?
Do we have our sound on?
I hear you.
Good deal. Thank you, Anita.
You're welcome, Dr. Gott. Dr. Gott.
Call me Jim. Call me
Okay.
anything but late for dinner.
Okay.
You're there.
Get some more snacks real quick while we're on the break. In fact, that's what I need to do myself.
Join the computer.
Nuts, no. There's almonds.
So where are we with my mess? To get some snacks and water. And I'll get to do face to
I
face.
had heard from him. I do have two of them. RCOP, which is really
So you heard any more from Israel? With the other two classes, or
Oh, you mean that like an automatic?
will they be taking the online from someone other?
They haven't contacted me and follow up about it yet. So
Now they can hear you.
What were you showing them a minute ago?
But you don't need
That's my canvas.
right now.
So the guide I was showing them, there was like a tutorial guide that you can go to like
Yeah.
answer the questions. That's go to the main website.
already.
Well, it should be right.
But it's the portal, not the portal, but the main website.
That don't make sense, because if she teaches computer science normally, is she?
Go here. Type in Canvas.
It's the grad level. It was social studies or the grad level.
Right here, Canvas Math.
And she didn't want to have to make a huge preparing for the undergrad social studies. She already had it taken care of. Switch over to math science.
Anything questions for assignment creations, discussion creation.
Search first, and then to Canvas.
Still just.
Yes, sir.
They're trying to get you approved.
They give you the whole layout and stuff that you need.
Take over.
Most of these show like videos.
I've never seen that. That's one of the-
But I already teach most from the undergrad. So
You know I had to get one.
I don't know, so it's still.
Yes, I saw a few of those.
Okay, I see it. Now I've got to figure out how to.
Still all
It takes a while. to get
I don't, I see it.
I don't figure.
Kelly's outside.
May I ask what meeting this is?
There's people that I don't know which one is. What'd you say? What's his name?
Yeah.
May I ask what meeting this is?
This is the faculty training.
Thank you.
Mine's not muted. How about muted? It's not muted. I think I just signed that bottom.
Or math. If I'm gonna look.
Easy rubbers.
What in the world?
Easy rubber.
Oh.
Come on.
I don't know what I hit. I'm not showing.
Jacob. That real that was when it was office stuff.
Okay. Is everyone muted? This woman looks crazy tapping. Oh, arrow.
Okay, I've muted everybody. Erica, it's 2:00. All you should have to do is unmute yourself and begin.
Can everybody hear me now? Show of hands if you can hear me. Thumbs up.
Very faint. You're very faint.
Can everybody hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, thanks, Nathan.
I can hear you.
You can't hear me?
I can. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Well, let's go on and get started. Thank you for our very first Regional Centers and Online Program virtual faculty workshop. As you know, we typically hold these annually at each respective center. So this is a trial run. Hopefully we're going to be successful. I'm super excited that we have 74 people on board. It's also a great opportunity to pull all of you together in one setting, because I don't think that we've ever done this. And I've worked in this department for over 20 years now. So we're making a record here. So thank you all for being here. It's also a great opportunity for us to thank you for all you do for our centers, for dual enrollment, but most importantly, our students. I'd also like to ask that each of our center directors introduce themselves, and we're going to start alphabetically by center. Each of these directors have worked tirelessly to support their center and their students, not just during this COVID era, but each and every day. Casey, can you start us off?
Hey everybody, I'm Casey Bean. Can you hear me?
We can.
Awesome. Okay. I work at the Jackson Center on Jackson State's campus, and I'm really glad to see everybody's face today. Thank you.
Kelly, I think you're next.
Hello, everybody. I'm Kelly Deere, and I'm the director at the UT Martin Parsons Center.
Thank you, Kelly. Sim? Dr. Taylor on? Hopefully Dr. Taylor will join us shortly. Alan, if you can introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Alan Youngerman. I'm the director at UT Martin Center in Selmer.
Thank you. And Kara.
Hey, you guys, this is Kara. I'm the director at the Somerville Center.
Wonderful. Again, thank you each for all you've done, especially during the last couple of months. I'd also like to introduce Audrey Waterfield. She currently oversees our UTM dual enrollment program, and I know that each of you have been very gracious when she reaches out and asks if she can add a dual enrollment section to your course. As you know, because K-12 has not completely decided in every county what they're going to be doing, Mike Krause at THEC is making a conscious effort to push out UT Martin dual enrollment courses to help students that are juniors and seniors actually try to meet their graduation requirements. So you might see some additional requests coming your way to add dual enrollment students to your sections. Before we address today's agenda, I do want to give you an update on how fall enrollment is looking, as budgets have been a concern and on everyone's mind. So at this time, I would actually consider the center enrollment to look promising considering COVID. I think many of our students, because they can stay close to home, being able to go to a center has been reassuring. I just today registered my own daughter to go to Chattanooga because we were waiting to see about course modality. So many of our students have been waiting to kind of get that, what does fall look like, before they even register. I also
Hello.
Hello.
Hey.
Hey.
Just wanted to introduce Dr. Taylor. Sorry about that.
Oh, okay.
Well, we're coming from the Ripley Center, and so that's why it may be kind of hard for you guys to see us, but want to say thank you. My name is Dr. Symphonia Taylor. I'm the director at the UT Martin Ripley Center. Great to see all of you. Thank you all so much for all of the hard work and all of the sacrifices that you provide for our students. And I want to thank all the faculty here for coming in today. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Taylor. I want to share an update on the strategic enrollment planning process that the university began working on this past year. We started with a review of 30 proposed plans on how we could increase our enrollment here at UT Martin, and we closely examined each and every one, and we are moving forward with 5 plans that truly do support the regional centers. We've presented them to the UT Martin Advisory Board, and they will be presented later this week to the UT System Office. So I wanted to share a little bit about what each one is. The first one is a strategic marketing plan that will have a special focus on non-traditional students, adult learners, and veterans. The second is an expansion of graduate degree programs at each of the regional centers. We've already pushed out a hybrid MBA, and we're working on an education, master's in education, and then we will be doing a master's in agriculture. The third one is the expansion of advising at the regional centers. And then the fourth one is improved financial literacy support and guidance. And that is actually a requirement of SACS. And so we're going to be doing some further initiatives on that. And I noticed that if anybody read the legislation and what was discussed Friday at the Hill, that was part of the discussion, was financial literacy for students. As you know, as we are moving forward with the blend of courses for fall, meaning we're going to examine each course individually. For small class sizes and courses where social distancing and safety measures can be met, courses may continue as a face-to-face hybrid offering. We are also being asked, though, to develop an online version of your course should at any moment we need to divert back to an online modality. With that also means that you guys will need to track your time also for COVID tracking. So if you spend 10 hours converting your course to online for fall, that needs to be included on your tracking form and given to your center director. So I just checked on that an hour ago to get a little bit more guidance. And if you are doing anything due to COVID that you would not have done in a traditional semester, we need to be tracking that time. So we'll get some further information about that, but I wanted to get you thinking on that because I know some of you are already working on your online courses. As we move forward with today's fall planning, you're going to hear from some of our department chairs. You're going to hear from the student conduct officer, the UTM safety officer. You're going to have some Canvas training, and then we're going to conclude the day with Chancellor Carver. So as we kick off, if you have any questions throughout any of this time together, if you'll put your questions in the chat box, and we will make sure that we address all your questions before we end today. It's going to be fast paced. We're kind of throwing a lot at you, but I know that your time is precious too. So kicking off, let's start with the deadlines that we always seem to dread. And so by August 1st, if you have not already, you need to have completed your SANS security awareness training. As you know, that's the training that allows you to have access to the UT Martin portal, that allows you to get into Banner and enter grades, that allows you to do your no-show reporting, to log into Canvas. That opened earlier this year so that you all have additional opportunity and time to get that completed. So you will find that on your Canvas dashboard. When you log into Canvas, however, it's not going to be at the top of your dashboard. It's actually one of the last courses in your dashboard. So you're going to have to scroll all the way to the bottom. And we just learned today that there are some faculty that have had trouble doing their quiz at the end of each section. And so you've been asked to use Firefox when you do your security awareness training because Explorer and Chrome have been problematic. You also need to complete your outside interest disclosure. That's a requirement of all faculty, adjuncts, and staff where you disclose any outside interest as required by UT policy. That form is actually found on the IRIS web portal, so you need your UT Net ID. And instructions for accessing that form have been loaded into the Adjunct Instructor Guide course in Canvas. If you do not have access to that course, please email me and I will ensure that you are added to the course. Of course, the semester calendar has been added in there. Any resource that we can think of that is pertinent to you has been added into this course. Also, a reminder, Callista Drone emailed today. She's really hoping to get all textbook instructional material entered into Faculty Inlight as soon as possible. If you are requiring that a student have a laptop, have a piece of technology for your class, please also add that in as an instructional material. Some students are able to get some financial aid if they do not have some of the resources, if that's actually put in as an instructional material that is necessary for that course. Also a reminder that you must have your course syllabi added into your respective Canvas course. And then you also please share a copy with your respective center director. We have to keep a copy of each syllabi on hand for SACS accreditation purpose. Not because we like to pull them all together and track them and hound you, but it's for accreditation. We were just notified Friday that one of the facilities in the UT system has the capacity to make face shields for our teaching faculty, lab assistants, and staff who interfere with others on a regular basis. UTK is offering them to us here at UT Martin at no cost. So if you plan to meet with your students face-to-face at any point and you would like a shield, if you would please email your center director to be added to the list. They're going to be collecting those. And I'm sorry that we have such a short turnaround time. UTK has asked for this information by tomorrow, late end of day. So if you could have your request to your center director by 9 a.m. tomorrow morning or somewhere around that time, that would help us to move a little bit quicker and meet this deadline. I understand that for folks that have tried the face shields, that it's a little bit easier. Students can see your movements a little bit better, and it's easier a little bit on your breathing. The final item that I want to remind you of is the availability of free online tutoring for your students at no cost. As you are aware, many students fail to read their UTM emails. So the emails that have went out on this online free tutoring, many of them have been unopened to this point. And so if you guys could help in just adding this information to your Canvas course, putting it on your syllabus, that would help in getting this information to students. I will also tell you that there are some courses that may not show up as an available course to provide online tutoring for. And if that happens to be for your course, if you will email me, we are able to go back to the vendor and say, here's a course need that we have, and they will go and identify tutors, and that course then can be added to their database. So please just email me if you see that that's not a course that's being offered. Also, I ask that you check your own UTM email account. And if you need assistance with forwarding your UTM email to one of your other email accounts, we absolutely help you do so. I know that we are inundated with numerous emails daily. I also know that many of the emails that you receive from UTM are really not pertinent to you. And so anything we can do to help lighten that load for you, we would absolutely like to do that. So let us know if you need assistance with forwarding your UTM email to a personal email account. I've rambled a lot. I'm a Yankee, so I talk fast. So I apologize. We are recording this, so if you need to go back and listen to what I've said, you can do so. But enough on the administrative items. I've asked Nathan Toline to talk a little bit and give us some IT updates. And then we're going to hear some greetings from our department chairs. So Nathan, take the wheel.
Hey, so you ran over time. So I'm supposed to talk about Zoom and our deal rooms and technology in general. We're all using Zoom today. It's available through UT Martin. If you guys are going to try to use it over fall or for meetings or anything, we can coordinate that. Just let me, Mary, or Lucian know. As far as the DL rooms go, I believe they will be available to be used for recording or asynchronous classes for the fall, but you'll need to work with Mary to get those going. General technology stuff you guys don't want to know or care. If you have a specific question, just chat me up on the app here and we'll discuss it, or give me a call after the meeting. And I will pass it along to David Carthers. Carithers, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Nathan. Hey, close enough, buddy. Can everybody hear me okay?
I can.
Okay, thank you for inviting me to speak a little bit today, Erica. I do want to say a few words from my role as Department Chair of English and Modern Foreign Languages, but also say a couple of words about the Common Reader that we'll be doing for the fall with our Engage program. So as far as EMFL business goes, I do want to let everyone know, or remind everyone if you didn't know, or if you did know, that I actually rotate off of being chair of this department on June 30th. So I've got about 14 more days after today, I believe, watching the calendar closely. So starting July 1st, Jeff Longacre will be the department chair of English and Modern Foreign Languages. So if all the directors could make sure you make a note of that. And Jeff and I have been working on the transition a lot, and I have made sure that he is aware of how important our centers are to us and all of our faculty and staff at the centers. And I'm sure that he will continue to support your work. And I did want to say how much I've enjoyed visiting some of your centers over the last couple of years and participating in your workshops. I'm sorry we couldn't do this in person this year, or I would have been there. But I think you guys are doing great work, and I hope we can continue to support and grow the work at the outreach centers. Now, the one good thing about this pandemic is I think we have many more instructors who are becoming more comfortable with teaching online or teaching remotely. So it is my hope and goal that we can get more of our classes linked out to the centers. We currently have a couple of English courses that we do each semester, but I think we can do more linking up with you guys, and I'd like to see more of our modern foreign languages classes beamed out and linked up. I think that's going to be a good way to get through this pandemic, and it may create a good new normal so that we can reach more students in our region. So there's that. We want to do more on that line. Now, transitioning over to the Common Reader, I am one of the coordinators in this Engage program for the UT Martin campus. And one of our things we're doing is a Common Reader that we give to all the faculty, staff, and students in the whole UT Martin family, and that includes everybody in the centers. So our book this year is called Callings, the Passion and Purpose of Work. And it's all about people talking about how much they love their work, really. It's a very uplifting book. And what you need to know is that everybody on this meeting and everybody at any of our centers will get a free copy of this book. So students will be encouraged to use it in their classes. Professors could use it as a teaching tool. This is also available for all of our staff. And we would like everybody to read it and take part in the discussions that come along. So if the directors could just take a note to begin making a count of everybody at your center. And that does include all part-time people and all staff and all the students who will be taking class at your location. The only students we're not going to be able to send this to right now is all the high schoolers far-flung across the state who are taking dual enrollment courses in their high schools. We could possibly make an exception to that if you are teaching in a local high school and you can figure out a way that we can get the books to you and you can get them to them. You can call me or email me about that. But we certainly have plenty of copies. We want to make sure you get lots of them. Request extra of those because we do this deal with Penguin where we get a good deal on the books, but we actually have to buy a little more than we really need. So we really do have extra books, and we're trying to encourage the community to get involved in this. So you might make a count of everybody who needs one in your area and then just add another 30% or something. It's okay to have extra of these lying around. You could give them out to some of your community members. We just don't want to have any of these unused. I did send a note to the academic news listserv this morning regarding the reader, but I know not everybody is on that list. But we look forward to another round of having a common read for our community and our campus. We'll have some public book discussions with social distancing, of course, at some of our local libraries. And I would encourage you guys in your centers, in your cities to create some of your own book clubs. And that could be a virtual club or a physical meeting linked to a Zoom meeting. There's many ways you could do that. So, email me or call me if you have any questions about that or about anything with EMFL right up until June 30th, that is, and then contact Jeff Longacre. Does anybody have any questions for me? Well, I'll stick around a little bit. If you guys want to put something in the chat for me, I'll be glad to answer. But otherwise, I'll have to go on to other meetings and other business today. But it is really great to see all of y'all. And I hope we have a great fall and that we can get back to normal pretty soon. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Dr. Carithers. Dr. Totten, are you on board yet? He had another meeting that popped up, so he is going to join us, but he might chime in a little bit later. Dr. Austinson, are you with us?
Yeah, I'm here.
I'm gonna let you take the wheel.
Okay. Well, I'm Dr. Austinson. I'm the chair of the Department of Psychology. I know I've got some adjuncts here, and I don't really have much to say, but I just wanted to say hello. And I know I haven't met all of you yet. I hope to at some point. Would be willing to take any questions, but I'll go ahead, Erica, and take them in the chat and then just pass it along to Sean. And I'll stick around till about a little bit before 3, and then I'll need to leave as well. But it's good to see you all. And like Dr. Carithers, I wish you all a good fall and This is primarily for the psychology adjuncts, but if you need any assistance with the technology and stuff this fall, please reach out to me. I'd be happy to help you. And if there's any equipment you feel like you need, just let me know. And so if you have any questions, please put them in the chat and I'll be around for another 15 minutes or so and can answer them. Thanks, Erica.
Thank you. Dr. Walker, are you with us?
Yes, ma'am, I am. Can you hear me?
We can.
Good, fantastic. So for those who don't know me, I am Sean Walker. I'm currently an associate professor, but by August 1st, it should be a full professor of management here at the College of Business and Global Affairs. I was asked by Erica to jump on here and introduce myself because starting July 1, I will be serving as the Faculty Senate President for the UTM campus and its centers. And that's really one of the reasons why we wanted to make sure to get me on this, was to make sure that the centers understand that Faculty Senate is there for you as well. You know, there's been a lot of disconnect or just not a lot of really good communication, I think, between faculty that are on the main campus and those that are at the centers. So I wanted to kind of start working in a way to bridge that gap a little bit, let you all see who I am. I'll have Erica later. She can send you out my email and anything else that you may need to contact me. One thing, following up on what Dr. Crothers mentioned, the academic listserv, if you are not currently on that, I would strongly urge you to get on that, because a lot of the information that's going to be coming out that may impact you, your classes, or your students is probably going to be included on that listserv. I did want to make just a couple of really quick comments for you all, just to kind of update you on a few things that happened this past academic year. There was a non-tenure track committee that was created that in part is meant to address some of the concerns that you all have had in doing your job as either adjunct or instructors on term positions. Things like access to offices, access to, you know, banner, contracts. There's a lot of different things that were included in there. I have a write-up of that if anybody would like to see what that committee had made recommendations on. That committee will be continuing this next year, and they will be working with our Personnel Policies Committee to try to see what things need to be done, maybe in drafting a handbook for non-tenure track faculty, which would include most everybody probably on here to some extent, but also talking about getting our centers faculty and non-tenure track folks included in the Senate, actually get them a seat on the Senate so that their voices are being heard, is another item that we are going to be looking at this year. And then also, you know, as you come across any kind of situations or problems, we've got a lot of things going on this year. COVID-19 is not really dying down like was originally thought, and so we can only imagine what the fall is going to be like. If you run into anything, please feel free to contact me. I'm here to help you all. And if one of your mean directors or Erica is not helping you out, you let me know. I will do whatever I can to try to, Erica especially, I'll tell you, she's hard to deal with. But no, you know, I'm here to be your voice. I'm here to use that tenure and stuff so that you all don't have to, you know, risk anything there. So I'm here to help. If you have any questions or comments or anything like that, I'll stick around for a little bit. You can shoot that in the chat as well. And then, like I said, I'll have Erica send you all my contact information. And then just let me know if I can do anything to help.
Thank you, Dr. Walker. I think we're a little bit ahead of schedule because we're still waiting on Dr. Totten to join us. Dr. Crothers, do you mind if I bring forward the question that I posed to you?
No, that's fine. Go ahead, Erica.
So one of the questions that I have been asked repeatedly is, what do we do if we have students that, how do we handle absences in the fall if they say they are sick? Some instructors are afraid that our students are going to use COVID-19 to their advantage. And so I asked Dr. Crothers his thoughts on this because he did serve on the task force, the reentry task force. And so I'd like him to share his words with you.
Okay. The way I responded to this question is, I know it's not always going to work, but we're going to have to just trust our students and our faculty and staff when they tell us they're sick. One of the reasons is, in our recommendations, we recommend if a student has any kind of flu-like or cold-like symptom, that they should go ahead and self-quarantine. And so that they should not feel like they need to immediately go to a doctor and then come to us with a note, because that just gets them moving around more when really they need to be self-quarantining. So our recommendation is that we need to relax our attendance policy as much as possible within reason. We know some people will take advantage of that, but we think we need to, for the most part, trust our colleagues and our students to do the right thing, and hopefully they will. But that's our recommendation, to trust them and not to ask for a doctor's note, and instead encourage them to just stay away until they're sure that that they're clear of any kind of the real virus or anything like that. And we know some folks will take advantage of that, but that just comes with the territory, I suppose.
Thank you. We've got Dr. Totten, we're still waiting him to join us. So does anybody have questions? Now's a good time maybe for us to do some Q&A or questions for your directors or Dr. Austinson, Dr. Carruthers, or Dr. Walker.
I've got one.
Go ahead.
We're talking about students being absent.
Mm-hmm.
What do you recommend? Should instructors just do away with their absentee policy for the fall?
I wouldn't say completely do away with it. I would say you should still have one, but maybe be a little more lenient with it. I would hope most professors are already somewhat lenient if someone is really sick or deathly ill or caring for someone who's ill. I know I do. So, we're talking about maybe giving them an extra 1 or 2 absences and not just like cutting them right off with the limit. So yeah, I wouldn't completely get rid of it. I would just relax it a little more, maybe be a little more flexible and really treat it on a case-by-case basis, I guess, as hard as that is.
I have a question.
Yes.
With regards to attendance policy, I intend on teaching and on switching my class to online or hybrid. And in the past, I have had students state that they could not do their online when I was teaching the in-class model, and all of my quizzes and homework and everything was online. And they had a month notice to do their homework. And they stated, oh, I was sick, that's why I couldn't do it. But it was online. They could lay in their bed and do their homework from their computer. So what is your suggestion with regards to the leniency on students stating that they were sick and that's why they couldn't do their homework, or 10 question true and false quiz that they had a month's notice to do?
Yeah.
What is your suggestion on that?
I think we definitely need to limit that kind of leniency. I would think that that's inexcusable to go a whole month and say you can't complete something like that. So I'm not suggesting we be that lenient with assignments or attendance. Don't just throw it all out altogether. I think we're just encouraging you guys to be a little more understanding with those cases that sometimes seem borderline, when you might wonder if the student's really sick. I think this is the time when we should trust that they're sick.
I just want to
but go a whole month like that. I would shut that down pretty quickly.
That was my feeling exactly, but I just wanted to get verbal clarification from the powers that be.
Yeah, and please remember, these were just recommendations that this task force put together, and none of this is really policy right now, but it's definitely our best thought out recommendations for how to move forward right now. But you know, we're not really the policy makers. We're just faculty. But yeah, just try to be a little more lenient and understanding, I would say.
Yes, sir.
And Eric, if it's okay, this is Sean again. Can I just add one point to what Dr. Crothers is saying?
Absolutely.
As Dr. Crothers said, those were recommendations from his task force. It's important that all of our faculty understand that you are actually the policy makers in your classrooms. So if you're coming up with something, you're not going to likely get an email from the provost anytime soon that tells you you can't have attendance as something, or you must do this or anything else like that, unless there is just a really, really good reason. So if you're wanting to have, you know, a week long to do the assignments, unless that student, you know, has said, you know, I was sick or anything, a month late or anything like that, you're not going to get hounded from this provost or anybody in academic affairs, because it is up to the faculty member to establish those types of policies in that classroom. And if for some reason you do run into a problem with all that, you know, again, you know, just kind of let me know. But I just want to make sure that each and every one of you understand that is your purview to do that. I completely agree with what Dr. Crothers said. Please be as lenient as possible, you know, because I think we need to take care. There are going to be some students very likely that are going to deal with this semester. And so we don't want to overburden them or anything like that. But at the same time, you know, there is, you know, I'm an HR professor. There are reasonable accommodations and then there's unreasonable. And when you're getting to a month, that's not reasonable anymore.
Thank you, Dr. Walker.
May I add something also?
Go ahead, Dr. Fogg.
May I add? Okay. In my economics class, I have all my PowerPoints with my voice. So if someone misses a class, they can still hear the lecture without being in class that time. Now, if they miss 3 or 4 classes in a row, that's not a good sign either. I check roll just because I want to try to learn everybody's name. But if they miss a class, they can go into Canvas and listen to the PowerPoint. Every slide has my voice with it. So I think that helps. And then if they miss something during the lecture, they can go back to Canvas and hear it again anyway.
Hey, Eric. Hey, Erica, this is Jason out of Richardson. Like what Dr. Falk was saying, you can see the activity in Canvas of people and what they're doing and when they log on. So that may be a tactic that faculty can use to see their attendance and see how much they participate. So that could be a way that they think about using. I don't know if that area.
Yeah. Thank you, Jason. I know a question I get often asked is when they're completing the no-show reporting, what are they looking at within Canvas? And I can only speak for my own course, but I'm looking at that they have actually submitted or done something within Canvas. Canvas will allow you to show how many pages they've accessed, when they accessed it, but I do not actually mark them as being present until they've actually completed at least something, discussion board post or something. I'm curious, Dr. Austinson, is that what you do in Canvas with your courses?
Say that again, Erica, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. With your no-show reporting, when you're looking at Canvas activity, do you go by that they've submitted something?
I've not. You can actually, well, you can do that, or you can look to see whether they've actually logged on to Canvas.
Right.
I personally don't use, I don't teach online unless it's synchronous. And so I require that they actually come to the Zoom class. I think, I really can't answer that question except for in psychology, I would say if they've accessed Canvas, then that constitutes their attendance in an online class.
Okay, thank you. Dr. Walker, were you going to say something? Okay. Any other questions? Deep burning questions? I am going to share my screen. I know one question that I seem to get repeatedly is how do you make grade changes? And I will process the paper form, but it is much simpler and less painful on you as the instructor to do the online grade change form. So I'm going to share my screen and actually show the steps to doing an online grade change for those that do not know that this is available to them. So bear with me while I try to share my screen. Can everybody see that?
Mm-hmm.
You can also see that I have a lot open. So we're going to minimize this for you guys. So you log into Banner, you will click on your faculty tab. And when you scroll over here, you just click on this grade change box. And you will select your term. So I'm going to select spring 20. When you click on it, this is going to tell you how many terms you can actually go back and make a grade change. So if you are trying to make a grade change for summer of 2018 for some reason, you will have to have not only the documentation to support that, but you will also have to use the paper form. You cannot do the grade change online within Banner. So you'd select your term, and then you would select your course. And then you will actually have the ability to just click on which student you're going to make a grade change on. It is that simple. I have seniors, so I'm not going to be able to make a grade change because my seniors have already had their degrees conferred. But that's the steps that you would take to make an online grade change. Any questions on that? We are still waiting on Dr. Totten, and UT student conduct is not due to start until 3. So we are kind of open-ended, so we can throw out some questions. You can throw out if you have problems, if you have suggestions. I know we have some Canvas gurus in the room. I know, I think Dr. Scholl is on. Dr. Tim Smith teaches quite a bit on Canvas. And so if anybody has any deep burning questions on Canvas before we have our ITC folks join us later, I'm sure they would be happy to address any Canvas questions.
I have a question. I post a lot of my material on Google Classroom as a dual enrollment instructor at a high school. Am I required to post these things onto Canvas as well, or instead of it?
Yes. So Canvas is going to be the true online LMS platform. What we've advised is you can still use Google Classroom to assist you, but it does not need to be the sole provider of your online platform. You still need to be able to use Canvas. And the reason why that is we have the ability to go in and look at the Canvas activity also. And that's a private public record that ITC can support you. So if you have a student say, well, I reached out to them in Canvas and I emailed them and they didn't reply, we actually have that ability to say, well, yes, they did, and support you in that. And so, and it also allows you to track the activity a little bit more clear within Canvas. So you can still use it, but it can't be the sole LMS platform that you use.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely. What else? I know you guys have questions. You guys are quiet. How about the directors? Do you have anything that you'd like to share? Alan, do you have anything?
We got one from the chat. How can you merge multiple classroom centers in Canvas?
I'm actually going to let Bonnie and Sherry explain that because they're going to be able to wield the screen share a little bit faster than I'm going to be able to do it. It is relatively quite easy. I cross-list all of my sections for my 490. I don't know if Dr. Scholl or Dr. Smith, if you do that and you want to be gracious and try to walk them through that, or we can just wait for Bonnie and Sherry. but it is very simple to do so. And we're probably going to have more of this. I know some departments are trying to be a little bit cost effective and cross-list more courses due to COVID and what fall looks like. Alan, were you going to say anything?
That's what I was going to bring up. We have a lot of requests from our adjuncts to cross-list the sections between the centers, and that would be a very good thing to show.
Yes, I don't know if I have screen sharing privileges right now. Let me just see if I, okay. Right now, share. Okay, so right now I'm logging into Canvas right now. See here, for the next 11 days till my password expires. And I've got, here are my classes. First of all, let me go ahead and go back into courses. Actually, I'll just do it the easy way. Let me go back. As I said in the chat, the metaphor that's best to use is push, not pull. So if you have a class section, you're pushing that into another section, so you're not gathering it up. So I'm going to go into settings, and right now this class, my Comp 1 class from spring 2020, it only has one section. It's an online class. But if I wanted to push that, if I wanted to have that grouped with another Comp 1 section, what I would do is I would go into the class, go into the settings, as you can see, go in here to the sections, and you see right here course sections, and this one, English 111 OLA, and I would click on that, and then over here on the side you see cross list this section. So this is the section I'm going to cross list. I guess again I'm pushing this into another section. So click on cross list, and then I would search for the course ENGL, and then here are a bunch of ENGLs that I in particular have access to. These are not ENGLs. These are not English classes that someone else has, but these are my own English classes. I'm pretty sure. Maybe they're everyone's. No, okay. So then I would just when I get the particular class ENGL, say here we go. Then I enter in the course ID. Or it's an or there, or enter the course ID. If I just click on cross list this section right now, then everything that all of my students will be in the will show up in the class. But what I would suggest you do is that when you cross list your class, if you've already got, say if you've got two sections on Canvas, one is really built up, one you've got all your grades and all your assignments and all your due dates, one is just like a template, it's an empty room full of students. Push the empty room full of students into the one you've already built up a bunch. Because again, the metaphor we're using is push, not pull. So take the class where you haven't done much work and push that into the class where you have done a lot of work. And I would say my main caution is to do that very carefully and once at a time. I have before had two classes where I pushed this one into this one and pushed this one into this one, and suddenly I couldn't see either class and had to call up the ITC and say, please help me. And they're like, sure, no problem, and like fixed it in a heartbeat. But that's sort of my metaphor. That's how I think about doing it, and it's really a big help to me to be able to combine all of those. And even if you have, like, say I do that for my Monday, Wednesday class, my Tuesday, Thursday class, I have a different due dates, but you can set due dates based on section. So I could say my Monday, Wednesday section has a due date on Monday, my Tuesday, Thursday section has a due date on Tuesday, and it works out perfectly fine like that. Does that help?
Hey, Alan, thanks for that. That is helpful. Do we have to cross list them before we publish them? I think once you publish, you can't merge them anymore, right?
I'm not sure about that. I've never tried that. I always try and get everything up to date as much as I can. But I do. Let me just think. I'm going to go into settings right now and trying to see if I can unpublish once something is already published. I cannot unpublish this course if there are graded student submissions. So I think that even if you publish, what that little pop-up is intuiting, or what I'm intuiting from that pop-up is that if I publish a setting and no students have turned anything in yet, then I can unpublish it and then merge it and then publish it again. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I am pretty sure you have to make sure you've merged your sections before you publish them, which would make sense, but just keep that in mind. You might want to ask.
Measure twice, cut once.
Yeah.
Anything else I can help with?
Alan, do you use your calendar in Canvas?
Oh, I love the calendar. Yes. Okay. I remember when we were first getting when they're first introducing us, converting us over from Blackboard to Canvas. Calendar is what just won me over. It's just like, okay, I'm good now. So I'm going to share my screen again. Let me go up here and let's see here. Share screen. Screen 2. Share. Nope, that's not the screen that I want to share. Stop share. Fun, right? Okay. Does that? Okay. Let's see, I'm trying to think. Okay, let me drag this down so that'll work. For some reason, I don't know, it's not sharing. Okay. Right now, are you seeing my calendar, everyone?
No, not yet.
Not yet? Okay, now are you seeing my calendar?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so so this is my calendar, and you can see, I've got all these things over here. Two big things for the calendar is that any assignments you have as a due date automatically show up here. I don't know why my spring classes aren't showing. Oh, there they are. And so right now, the thing that really just that I bought into immediately, if you see they have a line through it, that means that was already, it's past due. Just like if I was in Google Calendar, if I wanted to move this, I could click it and then drag it to another day and then drop it. And then it actually changes the date in the system, changes the day from one day to the other. The time period stays the same, 2 p.m. Friday, 2 p.m. Tuesday, but all the little hooks in the system work out just fine. What I said earlier, where you see this is 11 a.m. For English 112 PX1. Here's 11 a.m. English 112 PX6, that's a dual credit section. And here's English 112 PX2 on Thursday. So you can see, here's my Monday, Wednesday class, here's my Tuesday, Thursday class, and they had, at least in February, separate due dates. And so I could just drag and drop really, really easily. I can also just like turn off my American Lit and my World Lit and my Comp 1 classes and then just focus on my Comp 2 classes. I've also got a weekly view or an agenda where they show, here are all the lists of things to do, but I stay in the month view most of the time. And that's, and even right now, if I click on where there wasn't, so I'm just gonna do that again, right here on the Friday, February 21st, I'm gonna click right there in the empty box and it says, oh, would you like to do something? And I can add an assignment there. It doesn't fill it out, doesn't create the whole quiz, but it creates sort of like a placeholder. You can say when the due date is, just the date, which will peg it to midnight or actually 11:59 p.m. Or you can enter the time and say, 11 a.m. if you've got an 11 a.m. class right there, what calendar to put it in, and then what group you have. So I've got an essay group, a quizzes group, a research group, and and then you can decide whether you want students to see it immediately where it's green or not immediately with a little X, or you can do other to-dos or appointment groups, or if you don't want to make appointments with students right there too. Or if you want to like have an event there where you say like, I want to put all my class meetings as events in the calendar. And if you do that, students will see that as well. But I also want to go ahead and say, I know I'm moving through this quickly. One of the things that's really useful to me that I absolutely also fell in love with is right here calendar feed. If I click on that, then I see here is this link. And if you copy and paste it, like email it to yourself or something, this is the link that you can use to subscribe to your Canvas calendar on, for example, your phone calendar or your tablet calendar. So if you keep all your dates in your phone calendar, this will make it so that you can see, or that it works the other way. So your students, I tell my students, subscribe to this calendar in your phone calendar, and then therefore you can see every day what assignments are coming up due on your normal phone's calendar. And I found that to be quite helpful. Does that help? Does that answer your question?
Very helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, the calendar feature is fantastic.
Anything
else I can help with?
This is a good time to mention that we are looking for a cheerleader, a Canvas cheerleader at each center that would be a resource to help our instructors at each center. Dr. Scholl, I think, will nominate you for the Parsons Center to be that cheerleader. Yeah, wave your flag. If anybody else is would like to sign up to be a cheerleader, please let us know. But thank you for sharing with us. I think that
I love how excited he was when he wanted to tell us about the calendar. I love, because I geek out like that too. And so when he did that, I was like, I love doing that stuff. I'll say this too, as y'all are transitioning, the Canvas training that is going on, the one that's like an hour every day, you know, I know how to set up my courses and cross lists, and I do it for my adjuncts. And so I'm very fluent in Canvas. But I'm learning all these little things. The only thing I wasn't real inept with was the Canvas Studio, because we've been in the classroom and now I'm recording my lectures so students can go back and listen to them, or if they can't be on my Zoom class at that time because, you know, things are a little crazy over the summer with COVID and losing jobs and changing jobs, they can go back and actually see me and hear me. So it's just like being in that lecture in a sense. But the Canvas trainings have been really, really good, because Sherry and Bonnie do an awesome job and answer questions and kind of help you learn to navigate the things that are specific maybe for an adjunct, especially for what they're needing to do, and not kind of going over everything and overwhelming you, but little pieces of that. So I hope that some of our adjuncts will be able to take advantage of those trainings, or if they're not able to, will there be a night offering for them to be able to do that, or can they watch the recordings? That was a question that one of my adjuncts had.
they're going to present for a little bit this afternoon, and then they actually have already recorded for each of us. And those will be uploaded into the adjunct instructor course. Mary Beth was working on that already. And so those will be available for whenever they want to go back and review those.
That's great. Thank you so much. That'll be a fantastic resource for them.
Absolutely. It's also a good thing to mention that Nathan has ordered access points for all of the centers except for Jackson at this point, that would allow students to have internet in the parking lots at the center. So if you have a student that does not have internet at home but does not feel comfortable coming into the center, they will be able to sit in the parking lot and have internet access. So I wanted to share that with you also. And special thanks to Nathan, because I pestered him a lot to get those ordered for us.
Okay. And those are in. Ripley was installed today, and the rest of the center should be done by the end of the week.
Perfect. Thank you, Nathan.
That is awesome, because I know my Parsons students, a lot of them will drive to the McDonald's to access, because I know some of them, either they don't have access to Wi-Fi or it's kind of spotty. So that's awesome to hear that we're going to have that resource for our students. Thank y'all so much for that.
Absolutely. We are going to now let Shannon Perry, who is the UT Martin Student Conduct Officer, speak with us for a little bit. So Shannon, are you with us?
I'm here. I'm with you.
Take it away.
Can you hear me? All right. Well, hello. It's nice to see some friendly faces and some unique places. I see that we've got somebody, Alan, from the looking like he's from the Coliseum, and I've got another one who's like San Francisco. We got the Bay Bridge behind her, so that's always exciting. And then somebody else I saw was coming from space. Yeah, I'm just coming to you from my office in Martin, Tennessee. But unique times we are experiencing, right? It is very, been a big change for me, especially with the amount of contact that I have with the students, and I'm sure that it's been a change for you folks as well. You know, we don't really know exactly what our semester is going to look like, and I think that one things that we do know is that we're going to have to just remain flexible. You know, usually during these meetings, I talk to folks about, you know, if you have some behavior issues in class, let me know. That still goes with the territory, with the things that I do, but you know, behaviors in the classroom might look different, right? So it might be an issue with if you're in a classroom setting, what do we do, Shannon, if somebody's not wearing a mask? We ask them to wear a mask, okay? We can't force anybody to do things, and Holly's going to talk to you guys a little bit later about different things. But we're going to have some things to where these are the university recommendations. And if you have a student who is repeatedly not doing those things that you've asked that are health and safety, don't do anything that's going to get yourself, you know, in harm's way. But make a notation and give me a call, okay? I didn't do a PowerPoint. We had a little bit of quick notice on this one, but the center directors all have, I believe they all have my cell phone number. Many of you probably have my cell phone number, and my office number is listed online. You can look me up through S for student conduct or C for care team, and you'll find me that way. Or you can also email me, that works as well. So now let's talk just a little bit briefly about academic integrity. Academic integrity looks different now that we are in this kind of an online platform. I would encourage you to come up with tests and quizzes that either are hard enough that you can make it a take home and that they are having to really, really work and dig, and you are satisfied that they put in the effort to grasp this material by gathering all this material, that you do things that make them have reflections on personal experiences and relate what they've done in the classroom or learned to a personal experience. These are just things that help us avoid those issues where a student gets into a test and you've requested that they either like not used any outside sources, when they're having to pull from their brain a personal experience that relates to what they've done in class. It's really, really hard to cheat when you do that. We got into a situation last semester in many, many classes where professors were very concerned that their students were cheating. I know that we've got lockdown browser that goes and Respondus has like, show me your room, show me this, show me that. It was fascinating to watch some of these students take tests and to see how readily they accessed other material to include other people. They would have somebody sitting with them. So truly, I encourage you to, I mean, it will be, it helps your mind a bit too, right? If you're not worried about someone cheating on your test because you're having them access things that relate it to personal knowledge and not just rely on like a multiple choice situation where you don't know if they've got something stuck to their screen that's got answers on it or what. So just some thoughts from me on the academic integrity front. Now, definitely if you do have a student who has not gone in accordance with what rules you have set in place, let me know. And we'll talk about it. We'll figure out what to do. There are some cases where the professor wants to handle that first time themselves. I am all for educational experiences, but I'm also a fan of making sure that we don't have repeat offenders. You know what I mean? So if you have a student and you want to use it as an educational experience, give me a heads up. Also, I'll put it in my system and we'll just put it in there as an FYI. That way, if it happens again, another professor sends something in, I will have that student's name and be able to reference the fact that, you know, I know that you had a conversation with Dr. Scholl because he let me know that you guys have talked about this before. And so this is a problem that you're having. So we need to figure things out. So if you want to handle things in class, educational experience, I'm all for that. Please do let me know. Dr. Scholl does a wonderful job of just giving me a heads up sometimes on students. And then we'll just put them in our database. I know many of you are going to be doing some things with dual enrollment students, and that's a difficult pickle, right? There are occasions and instances where we are going to need to reach out to that dual enrollment student's high school counselor, and we're going to need to come together and have a conference sometimes with parents. It happens. We'll do it. It's not a problem. I just want you to let me know, and we'll talk about it together and we'll come up with a good solution, okay? All right, so that's kind of the conduct side of the house. If you guys have any questions as we kind of go through things, just let me know. Now let's talk a little bit about the care piece. Last summer, I came around with Jennifer Hart and we did suicide prevention training for everyone, and that was amazing. And we had another year where we did not experience any death by suicide by any students. So that's 5th year in a row, which is amazing. And I want to just thank each and every one of you for helping look out for our students. I am concerned as we move into this year. We are taking away many of the protective factors for our students, and that means that there's going to be a little bit of extra vigilance that we have on our side. So if you notice a student is not engaging, if they're not logging into their Canvas, if they used to and they're totally not, let me know so we can figure out what's going on with that student. There are also times where you'll get emails from students where you're going to note that that student is clearly agitated. Maybe they are agitated at you. Maybe they are just expressing agitation at the world. Distress comes in all forms, and agitation or being upset and pushing that toward one person is not abnormal, and we want to check on that student. So don't take that kind of load alone. You have people that you can reach out to, any of the center directors, and you can also reach out to Erica. They'll get it to me. Any of your senior professors that you have on your center campuses, you can reach out to them. They'll get it to me. If you're not comfortable doing that, I would encourage you just to shoot me an email. I think that we'll probably send out something later, because I want to send out the red light that has, like, we're going to amend the red light, which is just some protocols for what to do if you experience a student in distress. Like, do I call the police immediately? Not necessarily, right? These are the different levels. So we're going to amend that to where it kind of is a little bit more of a hybrid for the hybrid classes, the hybrid situation that we're going to experience. And that will have contact information for myself and other members of the care team. It'll have your local public safety numbers on it. And it'll also have a little bit more information about what distress looks like in an online platform. My hope, because you guys have smaller classes, is that you'll be able to sort out how to have class, because face-to-face interaction is so important. I'll never forget the very first Zoom meeting I had after being at home for like 2 weeks. We had a staff meeting and I was like giddy, so excited to see all of my coworkers' faces. I like them all, so you know, that was, I had missed them. So, you know, even if you do an online format, if there's any chances that you can get students in something like this, that's great. I think that also gives us a touch base visually, right? So many changes happen behaviorally and to a student's person, if you will, that allow you to recognize that they are entering a level of distress where we can step in. So if there are chances that you can do those visual meetings, I think that's a great idea. You know, during the entire last part of the semester, my husband taught from my living room, and he taught his classes real time with all of his students logging into Zoom. And I was like, are your students actually showing up? Because he like nailed a whiteboard to the back, took me out my big mirror in the dining room, nailed up a whiteboard, and like he was having like legit class in there. He said his students were coming. They came to his classes. He hardly ever had anyone miss. And I thought that was amazing. So, and it also gave him, you know, a visual. He required, you know, the students would ask questions and things like that. And it was a wonderful way for him to keep that contact with his students. And as we move into this new normal, as many call it, I think, anything that we can do that helps maintain some level of normalcy is going to be really important. So I think that is pretty much majority of what I had. I'm going to work on those. We're still kind of early in our summer, and I've got a couple things going on, and I had slotted to do those new red lights toward the middle of July. So I'm going to work on those to get those out to everyone. Please, main thing here is if you have questions, if you have concerns, if it concerns you, it concerns me. And that's all that there is to it, okay? Like if there's something that makes you feel off or strange about a situation or a student, let me know. Let your center directors know, let Erica know. That way we can reach out to that student. We have ways to do that that all depend on the circumstances at hand. Sometimes it's a phone call. Sometimes if it's severe, sometimes it will be a public safety officer going to their house and checking on them. We have called public safety in Georgia and in Washington State before to check on students who are online because we were worried about them. And sometimes it'll just be an email from us just asking how they are, offering to help. And the students are really actually very responsive to those emails. The subject line just says, here to help. And generally they'll open that up, and if they have concerns, they'll let us know. And it's a wonderful thing. Erica, did I miss anything? Do I have any, you think there's anything I need to add?
Sorry, I forgot to unmute myself. No, you did well. My question to you is, because many of our students, especially the off-campus students, do not read their UTM email, is there something we could do to help our students get the information that you share with them?
So we have started using Google Voice, which is like a phone number that you can use. You can email, or not, well, you can send an email to like a text, but we would text that student and ask them that they check their UTM email. It will come across to them and stating that you know, care team is looking to contact you. Please check your UTM email. So that's something that we started doing last semester. We are hoping to get funding through for Carly Joe, who was with us as an intern last year as a case manager. And, you know, she's young and she's got all these new technologies and stuff. And so that was one of her things that she kind of got started. It's a wonderful thing because we do have students who are only responsive to us via text. And my goodness, once they get a text number, they will not stop. There's like text and mania. But yeah, so absolutely, we recognize that that's a problem. I hope, especially if they're dealing with Canvas, because they're going to have to be alert to Canvas alerts. But we do reach out to them via text as well. So main thing is we have to make sure we have a good number for them. Hopefully they're putting that into Banner because that's where we get it. And the center directors know that if I can't get a hold of a student, I might call them and see if they can help me. We are relentless. Like if we need to talk to a student, we're going to get a hold of that student.
So it's wise then for us to maybe remind our students then to make sure their contact information is up to date.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
I know some of our dual enrollment students that we keep and retain, that data is long since passed because they did it 5 years ago.
Right. Yes. And sometimes they'll have multiple numbers in there. We're going to try and start with the student phone number, but if we can't get a hold of somebody at that number, we'll keep on going on the phone numbers that they have listed. And sometimes they don't want mom or dad alerted that they have an email from UTM. And so it would be in their benefit to let us know. Now, I will tell you that if I am super duper concerned, I don't care if mom and dad get it or not. In fact, if we are super concerned, we might be personally calling mom and dad. FERPA allows us to do that, to contact a support person if we have a concern for someone's health or safety that is an emergency, or we feel it is an emergency, we will contact parents. So if it's a situation like that, I wouldn't mind contacting mom and dad. But my goal is always, always, always to talk to the student.
I know that kind of muddies the water with the dual students because I know oftentimes they worry about interacting because they're under 18 potentially, and what can they do, what can they not do, or they assume the high school is handling that, and so nothing is shared. No concern is shared to us.
Based upon the information, and if I ever get into a sticky situation like that, I always will contact legal counsel, but because they're enrolled in our university, we are to treat them as a university student, which includes those FERPA protections. And so that also includes me talking to a student.
Thank you.
All right.
Anybody
Well,
have any
ladies
questions?
and gentlemen, thank you. I appreciate it. It was lovely to see some, like I said, some friendly faces. I always get excited. Hopefully we'll be able to get out to the centers when things are looking a little better, right?
Yeah.
All right. Thanks. Hang in there, you guys. Appreciate everything you do.
Thank you, Shannon.
Yeah.
Now we're going to hear from Ms. Holly Rowan. Holly, are you with us?
I'm here.
I'm going to let you introduce yourself if you don't mind, because you're a new face to many of our instructors, and some of the directors have yet to meet you. So,
Right. I've only had a chance to make it to Parsons and Jackson, and then my plan was to visit each of the centers, and then 2020 hit. So we've kind of, it's been a struggle, but I am Holly Rowan. I am the Safety and Emergency Management Coordinator at UTM's main campus. So I'll also probably be interacting with a lot of you in the coming years and whatnot. I've been here just over a year now. So I've kind of, it's been trial by fire this year for 2020. It's just been a little crazy. But some of the stuff I was going to touch base on was, our cleaning protocols, masks, some of the steps that you all can take just to reduce surface touch if possible. So I'll start off with masks, and it's going to be a recommendation of the university for faculty, staff, students to wear masks if they cannot socially distance. And by socially distance, we're used to the 6 foot radius. If you're in an open office, if you would need to wear a mask, cubicle kind of settings. Just anytime you're within 6 foot of someone. If you're in your office, you're good. You don't have to wear a mask if you're staying 6 foot away from other individuals. as far as students wearing masks, understood that we're kind of going to treat this as if how we treat the fact that we're a non-smoking campus. So if there was an issue, it would either go to public safety, student conduct, or HR, whomever, you know, would be the one to reach out. Hopefully we can kind of nip that pretty quickly. But masks will be expected. I know I was supposed to touch on if a student is sick or appears sick, and in that case, you know, right now our employees were, you know, having to answer the questions and are, you know, have you been feeling ill? Have you had a fever, cough, whatnot in the last couple of weeks? Have you been around anybody with COVID-19? That sort of thing. So if they are sick, have been sick, then we would ask that they stay home for possibly 2 weeks, just depending on what they're dealing with. As far as disinfecting in between classes and whatnot, that was another thing I was asked to speak on. One thing that we are doing, and I'm part of environmental health and safety, that department, but I'm back with public safety on the main campus. So one of the things we've done is propped open all doors that are going to be typically handled, touched, whatnot. So if you can prop open a door to just minimize your touch surfaces and whatnot, that would be helpful. As far as the cleaning protocols, I know on main campus, we have some different equipment and whatnot versus what each center would have. We do have, we're following CDC guidelines as far as what they recommend. Each shift of custodial workers are cleaning, you know, all high touch surf areas once per shift. We are also, as far as the centers goes, and I've spoken with Erica a little bit on this, you know, if it's not possible for the increase in cleaning for our current custodial workers at the centers, that maybe we can bring in an outside agency that can help out during this time. It wouldn't fall under any of the center's budgets. It would fall under our emergency management fund. So that's where that would be covered. So no worries on that if that was to arise. But we will be providing disinfectant wipes and Lysol for each of the centers. What it's been recommended, you know, for professors and whatnot, is after your students leave a classroom, if you can wipe down with these wipes and whatnot the surfaces, it would be, you know, helpful and just decrease the spread of any germs as possible. Right now, you know, it's been a very fluid situation from the start. Campus, we've been kind of ebbing and flowing depending on, you know, what's the latest CDC guidelines. So right now, your best bet, if you want to see this stuff, is to go to the UTM's website and click on the COVID-19 information. That's our latest and greatest information. And we try to keep that updated as, you know, as soon as we get an update from the CDC. Of course, if we have any student, staff, faculty that have come in contact or think that or have symptoms of COVID, there is a form to be filled out that HR has sent out before. Trying to make sure I cover everything. Fill out the form. And one last thing I have to say, and of course, we do have masks on order. We have some UTM branded masks that they haven't arrived yet, but we do have disposable masks, the 3-ply medical type masks that's available now, that if you need it, we can get it shipped out to you. I've shipped out some to the center directors, and I see a question. There is talk right now of the touch thermometers. We're still kind of hammering all that out, or hashing it out. I'm on the system task force. I'm UTM's representative for all the UTM schools. So we've talked about this and it's still ongoing. And right now we still have a little bit of time before fall semester starts. So we're still evaluating everything. We say that we're going to be open, and that's the hope, but we just don't know with how this pandemic is going to go. It's a learning experience. In the end, we'll all come out better for it. We'll have better knowledge and better understanding. And I know from an emergency management side, lines of communication has been opened, and we'll come out better for it. It's just going to be a struggle as we hash it all out. But I can put my email in the chat if any of you have questions further that are more direct questions. I will be glad to do so and answer in any way I can.
Anybody have questions for Holly? We have a thank you in the chat from Dr. Carls.
Thank you.
No questions? Questions from the directors?
We will get supplies out to you. Like I said, it's going to be covered from our emergency management funds that hopefully FEMA will reimburse. That's why we've kept track of any COVID-19 time and whatnot that we've put into it. And we'll make sure you guys are covered. You're not forgotten. We'll keep y'all all in the loop. And from the system task force standpoint, it filters down through me into our UTM Soaring Forward task force. And then from there, it goes through the chancellor's cabinet. So that's where the information, when the chancellor puts it out, it's kind of filtered through multiple task forces. And we're trying to keep y'all up to date with the latest and greatest.
Thank you, Holly.
I
know we're
just to make sure I'm understanding, as long as students are 6 feet apart, then they do not have to wear masks. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
And the same goes with faculty, staff.
Okay.
That's kind of our thing. Like my office, somebody could stand in my doorway and speak to me without wearing a mask because we're going to be socially distant at 6 feet apart. But if you're in an open air office where you have multiple people, or even if I'm not sure how many centers actually have elevators, we've kind of wanted to limit,
we don't have
not limit usage, but limit the capacity on the elevators and whatnot. But that's the direction we're heading. And even if you have an area where maybe students will frequent, like for example, the traffic office within public safety, we have plans to mark out and socially distance and, put the markers on the floor. So if you have an area of campus, and I'm not sure, because I've just seen a couple of the outreach centers, but if you have an area where students frequent, then we may need to put down some markers on the floor and just kind of try to direct people to remain socially distant if at all possible.
So Holly, most of the centers all have like a vending area where students can go to the vending machines, and they have tables. Some of them are quite small. So do we need to make accommodations in those areas also?
Yes, I would say so. I would almost remove, or I don't know if you need to remove them, but I would strongly discourage use of the tables. I know as far as dining services on campus right now, and I know it's a little bit different, but if right now it's a pickup, you don't go in and sit. And when we do, bring students back to campus, we will probably have certain tables marked off, kind of like how you're seeing in some restaurants right now, where they have about every other table marked off. just to kind of increase that social distancing and whatnot. So yeah, I would discourage some of the lounge areas from just congregating and whatnot, and just if we need to put up signposts for social distancing, or I don't know how you guys are doing with hand sanitizer. I don't know if y'all have the different, you know, the stands and whatnot in heavy traffic areas, but we can get some of those ordered if need be, if you don't already have them. But that's about where we're standing right now.
Thank you, Holly. I do think we would like to get some of those stands.
Okay.
I think that would be beneficial, especially in the vending area.
If you can get me some numbers, and, you know, we're trying to keep them in the high traffic areas. You know, on the main campus, we are just about limiting door access to each building to maybe one access point, just because it cuts down on, you know, your contact, your touch surfaces and whatnot. So just get me a number, and we'll get them ordered and get you fixed up.
Okay, thank you, Holly. Any other final questions? All right, thank you for joining us. I'm sure we'll have questions that come up after you sign off.
Yeah, I'll put my email in the chat before I sign off, so y'all can jot that down. And if you have any more questions directly, just shoot me an email and I'll answer back as soon as possible.
Thank you. We appreciate it. I think Nathan is going to come back on board and say something about technology.
Yeah, you guys had a bunch of questions in the chat about pro accounts. We're not giving out Zoom pro accounts right now. If you're gonna need a class or a meeting to go more than 40 minutes, please just contact me or Lucian or Mary, and we can set up a time that you can use one of our pro licenses temporarily, and like what we're doing right now. That was really it.
Nathan, we did talk about the fact that we could make the access to the recordings open. Did we talk about
correct.
that?
Yes. We can put them on YouTube. We can put them on Canvas. You just need to let us know how you want it, where you want that recording.
Any questions for Nathan? Zoom? We've got just a few minutes before the Writing Center joins us, and I am going to share my screen again. I had, you know, Stephanie Colett sends out the daily email, kind of just some COVID-19 and news updates, and she tells us what daily tidbits she can share with us and provide some humor for us. One of the items she shared with us was some syllabi suggestions related to COVID and transitioning your courses to online. And so I asked Mary Beth to kind of review some of that documentation, and she embedded some suggestions into the UT Martin standard syllabus format. And so that has been uploaded into the Adjunct Instructor Guide course. And I'm gonna try to share it here with you so you can kind of see what we've added. Y'all see that? So this has been added, but for instance, here's a portion on distance education that has been added. If you scroll down, you're going to see some examples on the activities. This is like an example of a timeline that an instructor gave to really provide some clear guidance to the students. The academic integrity piece, highly encouraged that that's on there, especially for the dual enrollment students. That was very much an issue we had in the spring with dual enrollment students. Disability services, They recommended also, scrolling down here. This is where they talked about the required equipment that you're requiring for your course. They recommended also including specific links to areas on campus that would be relevant to the students, like how do you drop your class, the catalog, the library. Once we listen to the Writing Center, that would be an item that you could attach so that students know how to use the OWL, the online writing lab. So this has been uploaded into the adjunct instructor course for you guys to use at will. And you might have additional suggestions that have worked well with your classes. And if you want to share them, we're happy to embed those into it also to share with others. But I wanted to let you know that was available. And then the university is also looking at some new student retention advising software called Pharos 360. And basically, it's going to allow you to do some early alerts, to reach out to your students, to kind of
I got my blinked off, so they can't see me. They just see my name.
To track your students' progress, to refer a student. For instance, if you need to refer a student to the Writing Center, or you need to refer a student to the Math Lab, you can do this within this software. And so they are hoping to have that by July, and then there'll be some training that will be pushed out for that. But that will also allow you to work with your center directors. Instead of an exchange of a medley of emails, you can actually have something documented within this Pharos 360. And I think that is all the only other updates that I thought of as we were talking. Any other questions before we ask the Writing Center to join us? All right. Haley, I know you are on. Is Kiera on?
Yes, it's coming.
Perfect.
Can you see and hear me?
We can, thank you.
Okay. Yeah, and I guess let me get myself going here. I am gonna start out today. Let's see. I don't know why I don't see myself on here, but I think, yeah, I guess it's got, as long as everybody can see and hear me. So, all right, so I'm gonna start out today, and thank you all for having us on here. So we're just going to give you a quick overview, basically, of what the Writing Center is doing right now while we're in distance mode, and just make sure that the students will know how to get in touch with us if they need anything. So just to start out, my name is Clara. I am one of our staff tutors here at the Writing Center at UTM. And so I'm just going to start out today in case anyone was not previously familiar with the Writing Center at UTM. Basically, our main goal is to try to help students with any sort of writing related issues they might have with their assignments. So sometimes that's English assignments, but we do want to stress it can be history or science or any kind of coursework that they have. As long as they are having questions about a writing assignment in particular, we are happy to help. And so just some examples of the type of stuff that we can do with that. Say you have a student that has not even started their paper yet. They're just really not sure where to go with it. They can come to us, and we are happy to sit down with them and help them start brainstorming, figure out where to go. Or if they do have things written down, but they maybe are needing some help to get the grammar fixed up or just kind of get their ideas to flow better, that sort of thing, we can also help them with that, get them on the right track. And one of the things we get a lot of questions about is citation styles. So say a student needs to write a paper in MLA style, for instance, and they've never done that before, they're not really sure what it is. We can help them with that sort of thing, sit down, go over whatever citation style they need to use. So any of that sort of thing. And so while we are in distance mode, basically we are taking appointments for student tutoring to get any of that kind of stuff done. So I'll just go a little bit into how we do that. Basically, we are offering 3 types of tutoring sessions to try to reach as many students as possible, depending on what works for them or what they can access. So we are offering email tutoring sessions, phone tutoring sessions, and Zoom tutoring sessions. And the main thing to know for the students is that all they have to do to get started with a session is, first of all, just send us an email to owl@utm.edu. So just owl UTM, nice and simple. And they would just let us know with that they are wanting help with something, basically. And so what we do then, once we receive that email at the OWL, we will send the student back a tutoring request form. And the most often form for this is a Word document, but we can do, I think, PDF or Google Form or just whatever format they need, although it usually comes as Word to start with. And basically what that form is just a way for the students to tell us a little more about what exactly they are wanting help with, like what assignment this is, what course it's for. They can attach course guidelines, that sort of thing, and to tell us what specific questions they have about this assignment, because we don't really edit or proofread whole papers, but any specific questions they have about parts of the paper, that we're happy to help with. So that's a way that they can let us know what exactly they're wanting to do. And then the other important part of this is once they've sent that form, they can also let us know what kind of tutoring works best for them. So if they want email or phone or Zoom, they will indicate that on the form, so we'll know. And for email tutoring, it is asynchronous. So for that, they don't really have to give us times. If that's what works best for them, they would just send us in that form and also any papers they would like us to look at. And then as soon as we receive that, we will have a tutor look at that email and those materials. And that tutor will then contact them directly once they've looked at it with their comments. And if the student does that and they still have questions, then they just communicate back and forth by email, and that's how that works. So the only extra step would be for Zoom and phone, we do ask that the student also give us days and times that they would be available. And so for that, what happens is once we learn when the student is available, instead of just directly emailing them back, we will match them with one of our student tutors who are also working right now. And they will then contact the student directly to confirm the session. So for phone and Zoom, for instance, the student tutor who's available at the time will contact the student and they would call the student at the appointed time for the session. Or if they're doing Zoom, they would send the student a Zoom link for the session. So the main takeaway for that is that on the student's end, it's actually really easy. Basically, they just email owl@utm.edu and just say, like, you know, I need help. And then we send them the form. And so then basically all the student does is send us the form back and just let us know what they need, and we will get them hooked up with a tutoring session. And so I think with that in mind, oh, I'm sorry, I've seen the chat. I am not currently screen sharing because I didn't actually like prepare materials for this or anything. So, but I think as long as you can hear me, that should be okay. But yeah, and so that is the basic overview of what we're doing. And we do offer those multiple options to try to reach as many students as possible, because like I know we've had students in the past who have said, well, I would really like to Zoom, but with my work schedule and all, I just really cannot do a live session. It does not work. And so for them, we would do things like the email option. But we do generally recommend Zoom if possible. And so I think at this point, I'm going to turn the session on over to my colleague Haley, and she can tell you a bit more about how we're getting set up with the Zoom sessions specifically and some of the fun events that we've got coming up. And then we'll have a lot of time for questions, I think. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey guys, I'm Haley. I'm also a tutor at the Writing Center. So I was just going to talk about a couple of events that we've got coming up to kind of get students engaged with Zoom. So we're going to be having some tutor live chats. That's going to be on Monday, June 29th from 3 to 6, and then Tuesday, June 30th from 6 to 9. And how that's going to work is for those 3-hour time blocks on those 2 days, we are going to have just several of our tutors in a Zoom session, and students can just pop in and out if they've got, just quick questions like, how do I cite this? Or if they've got a full paper and they say, hey, I just want someone to look this over and go over this with me. And we'll just have tutors available for them. I know Dr. Alden at one of our staff meetings a couple weeks ago, she showed us the breakout rooms, which are really cool. And so we're going to be using those. So if someone comes in and says, I need help with this paper, then, we can just put them in a breakout room with a tutor. And then once they get done, they go back to the regular room. Or so that's how that's going to work. And so we're hoping to get some participation on that. Because it would be like a regular center, kind of a walk-in thing, except through Zoom. So we've done a little bit of advertising on our social media, but we'll be getting out the links and everything soon to the Zoom sessions to get everyone involved in that. Because like Clara was saying, we do highly recommend Zoom. I know just personally, my experience tutoring since, we went all online, and then I've talked to several other tutors too. I can get so much more done in a 30-minute Zoom session than I can in, an hour and a half plus of emailing back and forth. It's just so much easier with that face-to-face communication, being able to screen share and point out, hey, look at this on your paper. Especially for longer papers, it's so much easier to do Zoom. And I know, a lot of students, their schedules don't allow it, like Clara said, and so email is their best option, and that's completely understandable. But we try to encourage, so if someone says, well, I'd like to do an email session, we say, that's awesome, we would love to do an email session, but would you like to do a Zoom session maybe? Just to kind of encourage it and try to get those Zoom sessions in, because those are very, very productive. And then aside from the live chats, I forgot to mention, I think we are going to have, try to have a Zoom trivia night, maybe next month. So be on the lookout for that. That'll be a fun time. And I think that's all I have, honestly. Clara covered it pretty much. Oh wait, I think we have a message in the chat.
Yeah, I'm just looking at, we have questions here too.
Okay, yes. Okay, so it is Monday, June 29th from 3 to 6 is the first one. And then our second live chat day is Tuesday, June 30th from 6 to 9. And I can type that in the chat real quick, actually.
And just to address, I see we've gotten one question about what if a faculty member requires a student to visit the Writing Center? How would the faculty member do that? Like, would they email us? And I believe the faculty member can. Yes, they can email the OWL directly, owl@utm.edu, or they could probably email our director, Dr. Alden, as well. And what they can do is just let us know that, hey, I've got this student that I would really like to come, or I am requiring it for the course. So we'll know to be on the lookout for that name. And so usually then, if we are made aware that it's a required session, then after they have completed their tutoring session, we would fill out an official record of the visit, and we can send that on through email to the faculty so that they will know that has happened.
Yeah, we are keeping records of all of these sessions and everything. So if you want them, just let us know.
Ladies, are you also serving dual enrollment students?
Oh, I don't believe we've had any reach out to us, but Haley, you can correct me if I'm wrong. I believe we are open to that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Any questions for Haley or Kiera? Thank you, ladies, for joining us. We appreciate all that you do for the students. Dr. Totten, I believe you have been able to join us now. Do you want to take a few minutes to speak?
Yes, ma'am. Ms. Bell, I appreciate you having me today, and I'm sorry for being late. I sincerely apologize. Just an update from the Agriculture, Geoscience, and Natural Resource Department. We're in the mode of figuring out what we're doing with our own campus classes, how we're going to be offering those, and getting that submitted. Most of the faculty members, if they can, are going to be teaching at least their lecture component online, and trying to offer some of our laboratories that we have, which we have a lot of classes with laboratories, offering those with some kind of face-to-face component. So sort of a mixture of online and hybrid type classes and laboratories going on for fall semester to try to get some face-to-face time with the students. Trying to encourage all the faculty, if at all possible, to attend some kind of type of online teaching training this summer. Adam Wilson, Miss Sherry Wolf, Dr. Bonnie Daniel, they've got a lot of online teaching classes, workshops, seminars that they're offering this summer. So encouraging our faculty, although we have some seasoned online teachers, offering them to attend that training. You're never too old to learn something, and I learn something every time I attend their training. So trying to get the faculty on board with that. We have a new addition to the faculty here in the department. We have hired Mr. Danny Morris, who's been in extension for several years as a lecturer in agribusiness to help us teach classes both off campus and both on campus. And it's a partnership with Miss Erica Bell's group as well. So we're really excited about that to allow us to broaden the level of Ag Econ courses that we offer here from the main campus, as well as at the centers and possibly online in the future. Outside of that, Ms. Bell had mentioned her desire to get more interactiveness between the AGN student groups on campus and those students that are taking those types of classes or are in those majors that are off campus, that are not directly tied to campus. And I have not thought about that, but I'm certainly going to make a vested interest this fall semester to get the ball rolling in that direction. We are trying our best to ramp up our DL classrooms. I'm working with Miss Erica Bell to try to get another DL classroom. We have one in Brim Hall now, looking to get two, and utilize that with our student groups to make student group activities more available or widely available to those students off campus, whether it be a park administration meeting, whether it be a student Republicans meeting, or whether it be a student cattlemen's association meeting. Get those students off campus involved in those meetings. And we should do that with that technology that we have in those classrooms. So those are just a few things, and I'll be willing to answer or glad to answer any questions that you may have. Ms. Bell, if you've got anything that you want me to say or question you want me to answer, I'll be glad to.
Nothing in particular. Do you have a listserv? Are the adjuncts added to a listserv for all your instructors?
I do not. I'm going to be working on that here shortly. I've been out of the office a good deal the past couple of weeks. I've been out with my family, and then also had some things to tie up as far as my job goes inside the department here on campus. But I'm going to be working on that. And also, you had mentioned in the email talking about how we're doing the P&As for the adjuncts. How that is basically a partnership between your office and then also those department chairs that are responsible for those adjuncts. I feel like we've done a really good job with the documentation that we've worked together to create. I'm in the process of starting P&As. I've got my first one this week. But I'm trying to get the on-campus ones done first, and then I'll transition to the centers and working on our adjuncts at that point. So it'll probably be more towards the end of August or 1st of September when I start on those for our department or the AGN department, but would be looking to do the same protocol that we have done really the past 2 years in terms of the new document that was approved through the Provost's office.
Okay. Thank you so much. Any questions for Dr. Totten before he leaves us? Thank you. For supporting our instructors and the centers. Your department is great about really supporting the regional centers, and we appreciate it.
Not near as much as I appreciate y'all.
Thank you. We are going to take let's do about a 6-minute break. Canvas training will begin about 4. So I know some of you have asked to step away for just a few minutes. So let's sign back on. Just mute and stop your video if you want, and we will start back at 4 o'clock. Okay.
Oh,
Hey, Sherry. We stepped away to take like a 5-minute break, so they should be coming back on right about now. So we'll give it just a few minutes, but thank you for joining us. What's in your background?
Hey, everybody. Well, you know, that is my vintage original 1984 Ms. Pac-Man machine. It still has the do you remember this? It still has the flip cigarette tray because I got that. I have had it for 15 years at least, and I got it in Jackson from the skating rink in Jackson that used to be in Hamilton Hills. I don't know if anybody remembers that. I used to go there when I was a kid, and when they closed that down. So yeah, that's my vintage Ms. Pac-Man machine that is still fully.
I probably played on that thing.
Awesome. It is awesome. It still works great. I can get over there and play it for you if you want, but it's just not the same if you're not here.
That's wonderful. That's great.
And any minute now, because Bonnie's going to say something at some point, and my dog Lily recognizes her voice. So then Lily, my horse, will come up and say hello as well. I have a Great Dane, and she loves Bonnie. She wants to lean on Bonnie.
That's great. Well, we thank you both for joining us. I think everybody is pretty much back. If you want to, you ladies want to take the lead and introduce yourselves, and then the wheel is yours.
Well, my name is Bonnie Daniel, and Sherry and I work in the Instructional Technology Center together. I don't know if Sherry want to say anything. We're glad to be to get to know y'all even by Zoom. I know this is not ideal conditions, but the Instructional Technology Center is located on the 2nd floor of the library. If you're ever on main campus for a meeting or something, feel free to stop by. I don't know how open we're going to be right now with everything with COVID. We're working from home, but when things open back up, we would love to meet with you. Nevertheless, you are always welcome to call us at the Instructional Technology Center. That number is 731-881-7877. And I'll put that in a chat to everyone, just so y'all have that.
Mommy, way more importantly, is that Dr. Carls has thrown out a challenge here that says we need to have a tournament on Miss Pac-Man.
Oh.
I feel that I need to address this.
I didn't know Dr. Carls was so competitive.
Well, I'm in. You know it. I'm in. You will not beat my high score. So, just saying.
I'll take that challenge.
Oh,
uh-oh, there's Nathan.
Yeah,
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. You'll be wrong.
Sherry, do you want to say
horribly wrong?
You want to say anything else, Sherry?
Go ahead.
No, do you want to say anything?
No.
All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and open the class. How about that? And do y'all see my Canvas class? Erica, give me a thumbs up. Yeah, okay, great. Thank you. All right, so first things first, just navigating around, probably the most important thing that Sherry and I are going to tell you today is, number one, how to get in touch with us. But the second most important thing is down here in the navy blue global menu is a help window. And UT Martin pays for the highest level of support for our faculty and staff. So please take advantage of this, and also link, I'm going to show you some resources that you may want to put in your courses for your students. But the first thing at the top here you're going to see are the Canvas guides. And a lot of faculty will link these directly into their classes, which you may do if you like. And I just want you to see across here, there are Canvas guides. And if we open that, you'll see that there are both instructor guides and student guides. And so if you want to look up how to use a particular tool, maybe you're wanting to create an assignment and you can't remember how to embed an image, you can come through here to find out something about that, about how to create an assignment, use the rich content editor, that kind of thing. But likewise, like I said, your students can also, let me get back in there. So here's the student guide, and you can just copy this URL up here at the top of the screen, and you can copy that into your module or however you direct your students to move through different types of support items in your class. So wanted to make you aware of that. But also in help, and I want to go back just a step here. When you're in the help pull-out window from your navy blue global menu, you can see that there are other things that you can do. Your students will be able to ask you a question right there. They'll shoot you an email. You can also chat with Canvas support. And most of you are probably familiar with this type of support when you're shopping online or if you're troubleshooting about a particular item you've bought or something like that. But you will actually be talking to a live person. And typically they are on there within about, well, less than a minute. During the beginning couple of weeks of classes, the response time may be a little bit slower in the middle of the day, but this is a wonderful resource if you start hitting a wall and you're working on a class late at night and you're not finding your answer in the Canvas guides, you can go to this chat and somebody can help you get past that so you can go to bed and get some good rest. So just wanted to make you aware of that. The other nice resource that I want to show you in the global menu is this button right here that looks like a C with an arrow through it, and it's called Canvas Commons. And Canvas Commons is where a lot of faculty members at UT Martin and at other schools have uploaded lots of resources, quizzes, modules, assignments, different things like that. But you can come across the top over here to this filter. It looks like a funnel. And you can sort and look at only those items that have been posted by UT Martin faculty. And you can actually download these items that you may find into your course. You can see here that there's a course template that Sherry created, and you can use that to put some graphics into your course and kind of have a model of how to build your course out. So you would just click on this and you can view it, kind of see what it looks like if this is something you would like to do. And then you can click the import download, and it's going to ask you which class do you want to put this in, and you can select that and go from there. So just wanted to share those two quick items with you. But as we go back and we go into this class, let me get back into it, excuse me. So in your adjunct class here, you can see that you've got this resource guide that Erica has posted. And when you go to modules, you'll see the content that Sherry has built out here in the instructional videos. And so all of this, again, the guides will give you the opportunity to see little screenshots. If you're somebody who needs instructions and the video, you'll be able to go back and forth between the two resources to answer your questions. Sherry, you want to say anything about these wonderful videos?
Sure. So I'm sure everybody saw that Lily came to visit us because Bonnie was talking. The instructional videos are a combination of things that people have asked for, specifically like the Canvas Studio videos, and also some of our Zoom sessions that we're running right now. And so this part we will add videos to this as we go through this training this summer, but they are, unfortunately, the ones that are Zoom sessions are longer because they have instructors and they're interactive. And so we run those and they're an hour, sometimes an hour and a half long. The smaller ones are specific to learning to do something. Bonnie, can you click on the Canvas Studio Part 1 or Part 2, just something there? Thank you. So these are much shorter videos and they are just how to do a certain thing. The Canvas Studio Part 1 is just how do I record a video and post it in my class? How do I record the content, have a screen capture over a PowerPoint, and post it in my class? The studio part 2 is the deeper dive into it, which is, you know, how can I embed quiz questions? How can I have those questions point to the grade book? I mean, different things like that. So again, Bonnie and I are always available. And if you have a specific question or need to know how to do something, you know, that is something that is specific to your course, your content, you're a music teacher, you're a language arts teacher, you are a language teacher, and you want to know how to do something specific, we'd be happy to help you with those things. You're muted, Bonnie.
That Erica indicated is that some of you are wanting to know how to cross-list 2 sections of the same course. So if, Sherry, is it okay if I go ahead and show that, or do you want to keep going?
No, absolutely. And in fact, you know, we have a video for that too.
Is that in the module?
No, because Erica didn't ask for that.
Okay.
But I have a video and I can post it in about 2 seconds. So, but you can show them, absolutely. And I'll post the video for extra.
Okay, that'd be great. Thanks. So what you'll want to do is, when you think about cross-listing 2 courses, one has to be the parent course and one has to be the child course. So let's say, for example, I'm going to go into another course that we have here, and I'm going to go into this sandbox course. And let's say, for example, I'm going to cross-list this sandbox course into another one. You'll see here in the browser at the top, there are 4 digits there. Sometimes that number will be a little bit longer, but I want to copy that number. And again, this is the course that is going to be the parent course. And so then I would go down here to my child course. And let's say, for example, I was doing this here. This is my child course. I'll go down to settings. And when you go into settings, you'll see that there are multiple tabs across the top: course details, sections, navigation, apps, feature. And I'm going to click on sections. And so I would click on this. The name of this child section is Canvas for Instructors. And I want to cross-list this section, which is over to the right. And I would put that 4-digit number in there, and then cross-list the section right there. I would hit that button to cross-list it. Now then, I want to show you something else though, and this is just as important about knowing how to cross-list, and that's how to use the cross-listing. When you have a course that's cross-listed, you can do lots of things, like look at your grade book by section. You can email by just using the Canvas email function over here. You can email just one section in that course. And so this is what this would look like. And you'll have to do the same thing in your assignments, is to determine, is this assignment going to have the same due date for everybody? Or am I going to assign Ripley one date and Selmer Center a different date? And you can do that. But I'm going to create a new email, and I'm going to select my course. It's going to be my sandbox course. And I have 2 sections in my sandbox course. And so I'm going to choose my sections. And you can see I have a Monday, Wednesday, Friday section, and I have a Tuesday, Thursday. Yours might say Ripley, and this one might say Parsons, for example. So maybe I just want to email my Parsons students to let them know that something is going on at the Parsons Center. I just want to make them aware that I'm going to be over there, and I can meet with them to show them how to work problems or something. And I just want the Parsons students to know I can do that. So that's one thing that's really cool that you can do with your emails with those different sections. The other thing that we can do, and this is really important that you see this, is that when you get ready to create an assignment, when you go to the Assign To button and you're ready to make this assignment, I'm going to go in here to edit. The default is going to always be to assign this to everyone. And we come down here and it says assign to everyone. But if I only want to make this to one section, I can delete that. And again, my sections show up again. So I can give one section of students one assignment and save this. And then I can go down below here, or excuse me, and let me back up. We could do this one section here, and we could give them a due date of, let's see, give them to the end of June to do that. And then I can hit this add plus button down at the bottom. And I could also assign this a different date to my Tuesday, Thursday section. So I'm gonna let them submit theirs on July 1. And that's how easy it is just to make 2 different assignment dates for your multiple sections. So just wanted to make you aware of that. We've got some questions here. Let's see what they're saying.
And Bonnie, I just wanted to bring up if there are accessibility issues in your class, if you have a student that needs accommodations or extra time or a different due date or anything like that, that is where you would make those accommodations for the whole assignment. And then there's, you know, additional accommodations you can make for quizzes, which are actually in the course videos that we posted. I also posted that video of cross-listing, Bonnie. It's
all right. Awesome. Thank you. All right. What other questions do y'all have? That was an easy one.
Bonnie, I have one. Can you show us on the grade book, oftentimes, or I learned the hard way, I did not have the grade book showing missing assignments as zeros. So when students logged in and looked at their grade, it showed they had an A when really they had a D because they had missing assignments. Can you show them where we make those adjustments?
Well, you just put a 0 in. If you look in this grade column here, if I'm understanding your question, Erica, if you leave this, Bonnie Daniel here has a hyphen here. She hasn't submitted anything. You can see there's no assignment. There's been no submission for this assignment. If you leave that blank, it's not going to calculate as a 0 to penalize Bonnie. And so you literally have to go in and hit a 0 to give Bonnie a 0 so it'll calculate correctly. Or this is another cool thing you can do. Let's say, for example, that Bonnie's house burned down this semester, which I had a student whose house burned. So there were some low stakes assessments and assignments that I excused him from, and I can type EX, and that excuses that student from that particular assignment. You just type EX, and so it removes it from the total available points for that student.
Bonnie, I think you'd like to see the setting of policy.
The late policy?
No, well, you can actually, so you can do this manually, and you can give zeros when there are zeros to be given, but you can set your gradebook up so that any student who does not submit by, Friday at 6 p.m., the zero is automatically entered. And so that is, you can always override it if they decide to submit something. You can always accept things late, but yeah, the late policies tab. See where it says automatically apply a grade for missing submissions? You can give them a 0 when the due date passes, and you can always override it later. You can always take it back, but that calculates it automatically for you so your gradebook stays completely up to date all the time. When the due date passes, if they haven't done it, they're getting a 0.
Yep. Another thing that is really nice is we've got this notes column here, and to get the notes column to show up, you go to view, and you just make sure that that check mark beside notes is checked. Your students will never see this column, but it is very nice to remind yourself that you do have a student who has to have time and a half on a quiz, or that you have a student who goes by their middle name instead of their first name, anything like that, but they will never see that. I know that some of you at the centers also don't necessarily test on Canvas or anything, but you need to have a column so that the students can see their grades. You can always go in here and create an assignment because to get a column in the grade book, you need to create an assignment. And so we can go in here and add an assignment and So when we, give it all the information, this is going to be book, a book review for World War I or something like that, whatever it is that you're doing. And you can say the submission type, instead of saying that there'll be no submission, you could put no submission, or if you're actually going to see them, they're going to give it to you at the centers in the hybrid model, you can have them submit it on paper, but you could also have no submission. But even creating that assignment in this view here is going to give you that assignment in your grade book. Remember that anytime you create a graded discussion, an assignment, or a quiz, it goes 3 places in Canvas. It automatically goes to your calendar. It goes to the syllabus tool on your upcoming assignments and I think it's your to-do list is what it's called. And then the 3rd place is it'll create a column in the grade book.
So Bonnie, we have a question that was asked if you can combine classes after materials have been published in one section. And so I want to address this because this is important. Absolutely, you can always combine those classes, but the issue is the way the cross-listing works is you choose the parent course and then all the other courses go up under that course. Whatever the parent course is the one that you will load content into. So if you wait until a couple weeks into the term or halfway through or whatever, and you have content in this course and content in that course, whichever one is the parent, that's where the content lives. So anything you have in any of those child courses is lost unless you break them up again. So when you decide to cross-list a course, and I've had folks, and they'll say, oh no, my courses are exactly the same.
Yeah, they're not.
They're not. They're not exactly the same. So the best way, if you're sure that you want to cross-list, the best thing to do is to start out that way. You absolutely can cross-list afterwards, but then you're going to be calling me or Bonnie to fix something. Trust me when I say it happens all the time. They're not the same, and you'll have one tiny thing that's different, and you'll lose that student data because of that. So cross-list and then stick with that parent course and post your content there.
Let me ask you this, Erica. Do you think everybody knows how to post their syllabus?
I would hope so, but go on and show them why we've got a captive audience.
Okay, one of the things that occurred last year was that Vice Chancellor of Academic Affairs, Dr. Philip Cavalier, asked everyone to start posting their syllabi into Canvas. And so it is a very easy thing to do, but we can show you right here. If you'll go to your course menu, you can pull up syllabus. And when you look at this, you can see that the students can download, the file from right here if they want to. You can see we've used this for training. There's up here twice. But we've also embedded it here in the iframe so that students can look at your syllabus while they're inside of Canvas. Or excuse me, like they can open the file itself and view it without having to download it, then go to the download button, pull it up. They can just view it right here. But you can also just go into your Word document and copy and paste everything from your syllabus directly into the rich content editor. So let's look at how to do these things. So I'm going to hit edit, and you'll see here we have 2 buttons here where that made these so that you could download the file. But let's just start with this. If I wanted to open up a Word document that has my syllabus in it, I think everybody knows how to copy and paste. I could hit Command A on a Mac. I could copy everything in my syllabus file and come in here and paste it directly into this rich content editor, hit save or update syllabus, and that would suffice the requirement that we have. The other thing that you can do is you can also upload the file so that I think students appreciate the ability to download the syllabus. Some people just still like having paper here, but I'm going to put my cursor where I want this to show up. I'm going to hit the syllabus cuss. I don't know why that's called that, Sherry.
Because it's a fabulous acronym.
Well, I know, but I don't remember what it stands for.
I like acronyms.
So now that this is in there, I can leave it right there, and it would just show up as a link, as a download that the students could download. But I'm going to look right up here in the rich content editor to the link to the URL. And when I do that, you'll see at the bottom, there's a box that says auto open the inline preview for this link. And I'm going to check that and update it. And it's going to give it just a minute so that students will be able to see again, they'll be able to open the syllabus in the Word document window. It's sort of an iframe around it so that we can view that. I'm going to go ahead and update the syllabus tool here now. And you can see that's thinking about it, and it's going to pull up so that we can look at this file preview here. All right. Now, a while ago, I told y'all when y'all create something, it goes 3 places. It goes to the course calendar, it goes to the grade book, and this is the course summary. These are things that have been created for this course, and it automatically populates this calendar underneath the syllabus. And this is in the syllabus tool. If you don't have a syllabus format, you can go to the Academic Affairs website, and there is a UT Martin course template that you can, a syllabus template that you can follow. And it is accessible for our students who have learning accommodations. So you may want to check that out as well.
Bonnie, that's added also to the adjunct instructor course.
Good. Okay. Good. Students, see, the biggest problem I'm having these days is that students are attempting to turn in papers that I cannot read. I checked the box to restrict to doc and DOCX, and it is still happening. I either can't see them, can't download, or can download and can't make the marks on it. If you will, Philip, if you will send me an email with the course, I can pull up the course and the assignment. Tell me which assignment and which students, and let me see what's going on. It may be something in your settings besides the DOC and DOCX. If you're allowing them to submit a text file, they may be doing it with their thumbs on their phone. So you may want to check that out to make sure that you're not allowing them to submit it text. Alan is saying, when an instructor is recording lectures in studio, is there a way to archive the lectures for later use so the 10 gigabyte limit can be freed up? Well, if you're linking it, go ahead.
I was just going to say the 10 gigabyte limit is per video. It's per video. It's just telling you not to load up a video that is an hour and a half long, because that'll be over 10 gigabytes. So there's no worry. Our studio account is unlimited right now. It's just that each video can only be 10 gig. And honestly, if your video is at 10 gig, I mean, I'm not watching that. Oh my goodness, that's ridiculous. You're not getting my attention that way unless you're Clint Eastwood or you're killing zombies. I'm just saying. That's a 2-hour video at 10 gigs. So please don't do that, because no one's watching those. And we have data on that. No one's watching those.
Yeah, the students are not watching. We know that for sure. And the other thing is, if you really feel like you have to have some lectures in your courses, put it into smaller chunks. Use other resources, like with Studio, you can link out to YouTube videos, like authors, or maybe it's a documentary or something, but change it up a little bit. Just straight on lectures with you and I sitting behind our computer cameras. We don't have the production value that that YouTube or an author might have, and it's just students don't watch it. I mean, that's part of the good practices in online education, is not to put long videos in there.
So Bonnie, we have 2 other questions, and he said we had a 20-minute video today that wouldn't load. And let me tell you what's happening right now in Canvas and in Studio and in any online environment at all. Back in March, we were using about this much of our capacity. We were using 10% of Canvas. Bonnie and I, everything worked super fast. Everything was great. So the problem is, what happened when the zombie apocalypse hit is that all of a sudden we have everybody on the planet, everybody in Tennessee, everybody in Kentucky, that everybody who needs to take this course has all of a sudden piled onto Canvas. And they're okay. I mean, we're okay, but we went from 10% capacity to 100% capacity in 2 days. And so when you are trying to load that studio video that's 20 minutes long, the prime time, by the way, for usage in Canvas right now is from 1 to 4. So if you were trying to do it between 1 and 4, that's the slowest time of the day. And I don't know when you were trying to do it, but I'm just saying there are peaks, there are highs and valleys on this thing, that usage is really, really up. And so, and it's not only Canvas usage. The other part of this is, remember that people are working from home. There are K-12 students that are trying to do stuff from home. There are, 12-year-olds hitting their gaming systems from home all at the same time right now. So it's slowing everything down. And so I would say, I too have seen some glitchiness. I've seen some stuff that has had a hard time uploading, even though it's the right size. So you're going to have to be a little bit patient with Canvas and everything online right now, because there are all kinds of things that are just moving slow because of the volume of traffic that we're seeing. And so that's the one for Dr. Youngerman. Dr. Carl says, what ideal video link would I recommend? And this is not what I recommend. This is what the MIT research recommends. 6 minutes. At 6 minutes, students start to drop off. So I'm not saying every video needs to be 6 minutes, but at the 6-minute mark in a video, there needs to be something to pull them back in. And Canvas Studio is designed to accommodate videos from 5 to 15 minutes. And they will accept longer videos, but they take a lot longer to load. They do. They take a lot longer to load.
And they're more likely to not process, and you'll lose the entire lecture.
They are. They're more likely to crash. And so there's a bunch of questions over here, Bonnie. Kelly is asking that she had an instructor ask how to put MindTap on Canvas. You can show her, Bonnie, since your screen is up, can you show her the settings and to add the LTI app?
Yeah. And we're going to have to get off here in just a minute, Sherry. We're being bumped off. But you can go to the course settings and then go over to apps. MindTap's not already loaded, is it, Sherry?
No, it's on there.
It is already? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
no. You should be able to hit apps and search MindTap.
Okay, all right. I thought it was.
But I'll say, and this is me, these are third-party tools. So when a student has an issue and calls the help desk, or when you have a problem with them and you call me or Bonnie, we can't see these tools. They're third-party integrations. So just keep that in mind. Yeah, I think it's one word, Bonnie, but MindTap is on there because we have other folks using it.
No, but it's not coming up.
You're probably inside a course. But, okay, so there's so many here, and I'm trying. Is it possible to paste the entire syllabus? No, it absolutely is. I do it all the time. Paste your whole syllabus in from a Word document, and it's there, and you don't have to worry about it. Alan said, yep, the entire thing should paste at one go. And Dr. Carl said, like the Queen of England, 6 minutes. So that's right, 6 minutes. I know we're we've pushed our envelope here, Bonnie, and I know we need to go, but just remember that Bonnie and I are here. Send us an email. We can Zoom with you. We can look in your courses. We can pretend to be you and see what you see, so we can help.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, ladies. I have one final question, and I know it's more relevant now that we're in this COVID era, but if you have a student that you've given an eye on, what do they need to do at the end of the semester to ensure that student continues to have access to that course to finish up their coursework?
I'll post it.
There's a video for that. There's an app for that. There's a video.
And I'm posting while you talk, Bonnie.
Okay. What we'll do is you can create an incomplete section for your particular course. Say, for example, if you had a student in Maymester who is going to need a incomplete and will finish, you know, by December, you can create an incomplete section. And so the parent course is going to be what you taught in May. That's where you have all of your content. You don't have to recreate any content. And you're going to cross list the child course is going to be your incomplete section, and it's going to go up underneath that Maymester. So now what you're going to do is, let's say, for example, Erica Bell owes me an assignment in this class. Just like I showed you a while ago, when you can go in there and with an assignment and you can choose which section you want to assign to. If I go into this particular section, for example, and I'm going to hit edit. My original assignment was made to everyone, correct? It's not coming up. What's going on? Just thinking about it. Yep. But remember where I showed you that gray box at the bottom with the plus sign in it? I can click on that, and I don't want to choose that student's name, even though I know Sherry or Erica is the one in the incomplete section. What I want to do is choose the incomplete section, because it may be that you have more than one student in there. So choose the incomplete section, give a new due date for that same assignment that you assigned back on May 15th or whatever it was. You're not going to change that. You're going to leave that original due date alone so that you don't lose those grades. And you're just going to give this incomplete section a new due date and save your changes. And then they'll be able to access it. Okay, but look at the video. There's one little tricky thing that you have to make sure you check the little box to limit their access to the
It's up.
It's up. Okay, thank you.
I posted it.
Okay, thanks, Sherry. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us.
Bye, y'all.
I think that we have Chancellor Carver with us now, and he's actually going to end our day. Hopefully he.
So, Erica, you're telling me that I'm the only thing between the end of the day. Is that right?
I am, but I'm also telling you that we've had about 90 folks join us since 2 o'clock today. So wow. I'd like to give a shout out to our directors, to our adjunct instructors. We have some regular faculty on board with us. They've been a great group, and I appreciate them for joining us.
Well, that is fantastic. Well, I know it's been an absolute great day, and I think you wanted me to make some sort of overall closing remarks, and I'm happy to do that. First of all, thank you all for what you're doing. You know, when I think about the University of Tennessee at Martin, and I think about other great regional universities, you know, we've really got this footprint that's really impressive. And I'll tell you a story. My daughter was coming on Friday to go visit some friends down in Savannah. And they came from Knoxville. They had to pick up someone in Waverly, and then they went down and went to Parker's Crossroads and went south. And Carson was traveling. There was a young woman from Ohio that was with her, one of her roommates. Another roommate is from Cincinnati, Ohio. Another roommate is from Louisville, Kentucky. And the other one's from Knoxville. And they were traveling down, and they went past the Parsons Center. And of course, Carson's not thinking anything. She's just driving, and they're headed towards Savannah. And the women in her car just absolutely go crazy. And she's like, "What are you talking about?" And she said, "We just went by UT Martin," you know, and they were so happy. And so Carson whipped the car around, and they whipped in the parking lot of the Parsons Center. And so she had an opportunity to say, yes, this is the University of Tennessee at Martin, but let me tell you about the regional centers. And there are 5 of them, and Carson knows the spiel better than I do. But the truth is, with our extended campus operation, we truly cover all of West Tennessee. And I'm really proud of that, and I'm proud of the way you all represent not only your communities, but represent the University of Tennessee at Martin. And I'm grateful for what you do. I wish we were all together in person today, but maybe at some point soon we'll truly all be together. I just want to give you a couple of updates on a couple of things, and then I'll be happy to answer any questions that you all have for me. this is going to be an interesting 2 weeks. As you all know, they're making many decisions about a state budget. I do not think our state budget situation is as dire as it was last month. Last month, I didn't know if we were going to be looking at a 5% cut university-wide, if we were going to be looking at 10%, 12%. Well, I'm here to tell you, I do not think it's going to be that severe. As a matter of fact, all indications are that we're going to be relatively flat in terms of our funding. We know K-12 is going to be held harmless, and so we're hopeful that we will be held harmless too. Now, we are going to, obviously we've got some deficit from the spring that we're carrying forward. We are going to have to continue to tighten our belt. But folks, what I'm here to tell you is that the news isn't as bad as I thought it was just 2 weeks ago. I think when the dust settles, probably after July 4th, I'll do a town hall with Peter McPherson, and we're going to lay the budget all out there for everybody to see. Now, and we'll certainly publicize that. What we'll know by then is what our state budget will be, and in terms of deficit going forward from the spring, what we might have. But the news is not going to be as bad as what we thought it was back in May. Fast forward, looking at August, we're an enrollment-driven activity, and thanks to the work you all are doing and our dual enrollment folks are doing, we've had a nice bump. When you look at total head count, it's been magnificent in terms of our graduate population is growing. So we're going to keep the pedal to the metal. We're still going to be very aggressive in terms of our plans going forward with marketing new programs that we're rolling out, being very aggressive about adding some new programs to our degree programs, both master's and undergraduate, but also I think for our centers, being able to offer some new things and advertise it well from our off-campus centers. So really excited about that. Even though there are going to be fewer students, transfer students, that pool is really not as deep as it has been in years past. We don't know how many of our traditional students and working adults are going to be able to come back just because of perhaps needing to work or hearing some students talk about a gap year. But as of right now, we look okay. When we look at our transfer enrollment, it's down about 3.6% to where it was this time last year, which some other of our colleagues across the state are looking at an 8 to 10% decrease. So we're going to work real hard to make sure that the students that are transferring in, that we follow up with them and make sure we're meeting their needs. In terms of our traditional age population at Martin and all our centers, we're down about 1.8% in terms of the full-time new students that are coming in, which also is not bad. And now we've got our first SOAR session and TOUR section, our student orientation registration, but also our transfer student registration comes up next week. Those numbers could jump up if people come and register for classes that hadn't already filled out their intent to enroll for them. So I'm very optimistic about where we're headed. We are still going to stay aggressive in terms of our strategy for promoting our current and new programs. So I will say probably about the 10th or 11th of July, be looking for an announcement that we'll do a town hall, and it'll be totally dedicated to our budget situation. The last thing I want any UT Martin faculty or staff member to say is, I don't know what's going on with our budget. And we're going to be very transparent for that. Now, for you all, I know teaching is going to be very different from the fall and the spring. I never want to relive that again. And I know that none of you want to relive that again, but I appreciate your flexibility and your creativity in delivering a quality product for our students when we all had to go online, and eager to see what we're able to do this fall. We've been very honest with students and told them that this isn't going to look like a normal semester. And if they're looking at institutions that say it's going to be normal here, they need to look a little deeper because of what the state mandates are. Anything in and around Tennessee is going to look very similar to what we're doing this fall. So hang in there and let me stop. Are there any questions? Casey, where are you? Outer space? Okay.
Yes, that's what I call home right now, out of space.
Absolutely. But what questions can I answer?
I'll ask one that I had today.
Okay.
That was many of our centers, as you know, have a state appropriation, and that helps support us. The question was raised with the budget cuts and talk of budget cuts. Would the appropriation be affected? Could they take it back?
They certainly could. Right now, on June the 15th, I will say I think that state appropriation for the centers is firm. I don't think we can count on any increases, but right now I think we're going to be okay in terms of those appropriations. And when you talk to the state representatives and senators from all those districts, they've been, everything at home is very important to them. And so I think our centers will be in good shape with their appropriation.
Thank you.
You bet.
Any other questions? They're so tired. We made them work really hard.
I absolutely wore them down. So, well, let me tell you this, folks. My email address is kcarver@utm.edu. That's first initial, last name. If you have any questions and you just didn't want to ask in a group, please send me an email. We'll get on the phone and we'll talk. But I thank you so much for hanging in there. It's been wild, and I'm ready to get a vaccine and get people crawling all over our campuses. If you're into the vaccine thing, you may not be into the vaccine.
Thank you for joining us.
All right, guys, take care.
Bye-bye.
You too, Dr. Carver. Thank you.
Thank you.
Before we sign off, some of you, when you logged in, actually are not in as your name. And so I would like to do a list so that I can make sure that each of you have been added into the adjunct instructor course. So if you're not listed by your name, such as Tim Smith, Tammy Patterson, can you please in the chat window just give me your name so that I don't have to be such a detective to try to determine who is who. Other than that, any final questions before we depart?
Erica, I just have one about the SANS training. Can you remind everyone about that, the security awareness training?
Yes. So that is due, we discussed that at the beginning of the workshop, but that is due by August 1st. And they will access that SANS security awareness training in their Canvas dashboard. And when they log into their dashboard, they have to scroll all the way to the bottom and it will say SANS security awareness. And it's been recommended that they use, they do not use Internet Explorer and Google Chrome, that they use Firefox to complete that because it's been problematic for submitting the quizzes.
That's easy enough.
I have one question. If an instructor is only going to, like they are class meets Monday, Wednesday, but they're going to meet with one group of students due to their large class size on Monday, and then the other part on Tuesday, do we need to put that on the schedule for students to see? Or?
Not so much in the schedule, but you'll need to put that, define that in the syllabus.
Good. Okay. So our schedule will just stay the same.
Correct. The only thing you're going to need to do is denote in there whether, if it's going to be a hybrid, it's going to be, a virtual classroom, we'll denote that. But if it's a traditional face-to-face and you're just kind of rotating students, you don't have to do any adjustments.
Okay. Thank you.
You are welcome. The only other thing I will say is that I know some of you are purchasing classroom material and course supplies out of your pocket. And one, thank you, but two, if you have a need, please reach out to your center directors and we will try to, go door to door and collect money to fund that. I'm just kidding. But we'll help you assist the supplies. We never want to put anybody else out of pocket. But we thank you for all you do. If nobody else has any other questions, enjoy your evening. And then if you think of questions later tonight, just shoot us an email. We'll make sure that we can address it. And thank you all for being here.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you.